The June 2nd meeting of the Holden Beach Parks and Recreation Advisory Board will please come to order. First item on the agenda is the agenda itself, approval of the agenda. Any comments or changes requested?
Maybe from Christie, will there be an opportunity to discuss any involvement we will have with the pier property? Do you have any inclination as to which route we're going or how we need to be involved?
I have a section under updates with peer property, and I'll include that there.
Okay, I just didn't want it not to be on the agenda. So I make a motion we accept the agenda as presented.
I second.
Okay, motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes, which you have in front of you.
Move approval of the minutes from the April 7th meeting.
Was that a motion to approve?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't understand her either.
Is there a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries. The next item on the agenda is programs and facilities updates.
Yes, I have down first that, as you guys know, because you were there with the 50-50 concerts that began last week, and the town had the 50-50. This week it will be the Boy Scouts. I did make an announcement from the stage that we don't have all the slots filled with 50-50s this year, so if there are non-profit or community groups that want to contact me, they can. And then, go
Can I
ahead.
ask, how much was raised?
Our take was 407. It was 814.
Wow, that's good.
What's the
I would
average
think that's
been in
good.
previous years? Do you remember?
The most that we've normally done, and I may be a little bit off on this, but what sticks out is typically when Beautification Club or like Turtle Patrol has a lot of their volunteers there, that it's been the dead part of summer, like it's been $1,200, so it would be a $600 take for the person. But now when an outside organization does it, they get 25% and the town gets 25%. So that's not happening in our case. So in this case, we're better off. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And then the tie-dye begins June 14th. Remember that we need as many hands to assist on the days that you can come. I know not everybody can come every week. It will run from 1 to 2:30 this year, and sales will conclude at 2 to allow time to complete the process. That's not new. We did that last year. We stopped 30 minutes before. It was the first time we've implemented that, and it worked well because we had an issue with people coming up at the very last minute trying to pay and do shirts when we were packing up. So,
And what time do we need to be there?
if you guys can plan to be there at 12:45. I'm going to just make a note about that. And then Beach Rangers is off to a great start. There was a soft start the week before Memorial Day when the Rangers were being trained by previous Rangers. And then the agenda packet stuff's right up here at this front table. Then starting on Memorial Day weekend and holiday weekends, we always try to run 2 people per shift to help cover the crowds. So they are into now their second week. And many of you met our intern for the summer, Emily, at the concert on Sunday night. But if you were not in attendance, this is Emily, and she'll be working with the department this summer. She is getting her master's from NC State in Parks and Recreation currently. Across the street, move into facilities unless anybody has any questions on programs. Okay. I will touch on, you guys had asked me previously about day camps, and since Emily she's not having to receive, so if she were receiving college credit for an actual internship as a course class, she could not be left alone to do day camp, but since she is an employee doing an internship for her own benefit, she would be the same as just a seasonal employee, so she can do that. We haven't discussed timing and the other things that we now have to undertake with the department and whether that will happen or not. But I know that was a question of the board, and there may be some Thursdays that we can advertise that we're going to do that. I think we would, if we do that, we're going to hit, and it would actually be something that we would have myself and usually Heather involved in, and it would be the larger programs where we hit the putt-putts and the water slides off island, because we might do some art stuff here and some gaming, but people really like those too, and those are the ones that fill up the most, so we'll probably try to coordinate that. So 2 facilities, Bridgeview Park, we mentioned before we got into, we spent the last couple of months with you guys really focusing on the budget and things that we need to get accomplished for this board's recommendation regarding the budget. And I think when we last spoke about Bridgeview Park and what would be accomplished out of this budget year, I mentioned that we were going to transform the bocce court, put some sand in it, and hopefully get seating. Well, the HVAC died in the bathroom, and so that takes priorities over that money. That had to be fixed, which was completed. We had supply chain issues for a little bit, but that was completed today. So the chairs will likely not happen now, and that will not be transformed before the end of the budget year because I had to use the money in the park line for that. Candace sent me a message this morning. I was thankful. She let me know that there's some repairs that need to be made at Halstead on the fishing pier with some spindles and the picnic table, so that has been relayed to Public Works. In terms of the pier property, the food truck started yesterday. One food truck started yesterday, is back again today. And the electric pedestals are ready for the campsites. There's 6 of them. 3 of those are 50 amp and 3 are 30 amp. We are handling the coordination of that. Emily and I are working on that. The answer to your question is that you had earlier about the special meeting and plans moving forward. Creating master plans for the pier and Block Q were discussed, and the town manager asked if those plans were going to be spearheaded by the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, and the board decided that they wanted to spearhead those plans themselves. So they said that the board could certainly be invited and would be encouraged to participate as citizens when public input was sought. That's what you were covering earlier, Mike, right? Did you have anything to add? You listened in, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's what they said.
I was asked by one commissioner, or one of them did say something to me last weekend, in the fact that we're going to be looking to you for some ideas, and I said, well, the master plan does allude to, that was approved last summer, does allude to an overarching idea.
They did say that they wanted to do, and I can't remember now if it was for the pier or Block Q that was specifically being talked about at the time, but they like the idea of the way the focus groups work and conducted for the Parks and Rec Master Plan when we had focus groups with people throughout the community, and they may look at doing that or talking to the consultant about including that kind of thing for feedback. each year out of the B Park budget, the porta-johns are delivered to the island. That is our additional restroom facilities that we do. And they also were having a lot of problems with enough drivers and being able to deliver, but finally got our porta-johns delivered the week before Memorial Day on that Tuesday, I think. I met then. And they're in place down at the east end and along the boulevard. And then the final update on facilities is that the budget has not been finalized, as you guys know. But there's a budget meeting next Friday, I believe, unless that's changed. As far as the budget message that David sent out, your kayak launch is mentioned in the verbiage for expenses for B Park currently, and the master plan did not come out of expenses. So my point is, anything can still be cut and is on the table for commissioners to move around before the end of the fiscal year. But the two projects that you guys wanted to move forward with that you highlighted in your request have been included in the budget message that went forth from Town Hall to the commissioners.
Selfish, refresh my memory. Selfish and an engineer being secured to just see what was feasible down there. Or is that in the budget or it's not?
I think you said selfish and you meant 796, or did you mean selfish?
I meant selfish.
Selfish is that's what the master planning process would be.
Okay.
So because an engineer would do the master plan.
Okay.
So the amount that we requested is in. I think it's included in the professional services line. It's whichever one's listed at. This is not the amount for the master plan. There's
Right.
several things that go into
Right.
that line, but it's the one that's listed when you see the budget at like 158,000.
Because we couldn't move forward with some of the things that,
Right. You did not want to
The
start
board wanted to.
programming individual things on that site until you had a master plan for it.
thank you.
But there was also money included that we talked about where this board did the legwork on what to do next with 796. And then when we had our budget discussions, we didn't include it, and I told you I went back and still put what was in the master plan that they had asked. And that is included for engineering analysis to start there at this point.
It is the start.
Okay.
Starting point.
And then the only other, you guys had just asked that it's been, like I said, it's been a while since we did the programs and facilities update because we had so much other business to concentrate on in our meetings. But I thought that John and Olivia's last meeting would be today because they redo them in July. But since we meet before the board meets, you get to come to one more meeting. And we're going to really stack next month's agenda with a whole lot of business to get done in one day.
And when will those openings be posted?
Typically, how that process occurs is on the June agenda that goes out for the Board of Commissioners. Heather will say that in July we fill our boards, and then they will set interview times for prior to their July meeting, is how they've done it in the past. So they would have to hear that on their agenda this month to know that next month they need to be here at 4:30 instead of 5 o'clock.
The only facility that I didn't hear you mention, Christy, was Splash Pad. Refresh my memory on the hours.
And I had that in my notes and went straight to the HVAC. We set the timer for 10 to 6 on that. When the county had water conservation issues a couple years ago, before we dealt with COVID and didn't run it, we had started with an 8 to 8 time frame, and then to help with that situation, we went to 10 to 6, and we have left it at 10 to 6. And it started the Friday of Memorial Day.
And the reason I asked that, and just in the event that you had received any calls, my daughter had my nephew down at the park over the weekend, and there were quite a few parents, she said, having a meeting, and were expressing a concern about the fact, and it was prior to 10 o'clock, that the splash pad was not turned on. And when she came back, she was sharing that, and I said, if I'm not mistaken, it is 10 o'clock. So it might be beneficial to just have some kind of little something posted down there, because they were gonna call town hall and complain, which I don't guess they did, but, just to be proactive to avoid any misunderstandings. If there were just a little sign that says splash pad is open or on, intend to.
Is it open 7 days a week?
It is.
Okay.
And then the only other thing about Bridgeview Park for the next fiscal year, I don't think I have the money in this fiscal year. We're getting a quote. But with the boat dock, we are having the last 2 years, we have a lot of people using our boat dock. And how that works is when they come, they check out. Our bathrooms at the park stay open until 10 o'clock at night. When the park closes, they are locked by the police department. So people that are boating have a key that we give them on sign in and sign out, that they can go to the bathroom every night if they need to, and they're the only ones that have access to the shower and laundry, because that's part of their dockage, that they can pay extra fees for the laundry. And we have decided that we think we may want to move to a digital keypad system on those locks. Because it is so much of a hassle. Some people try to charge a key deposit, but the way our system works, that would be a nightmare for the town to try to give money back on that system when a lot of them pay by credit card. So we're getting a quote for keypad that we can reprogram as boaters check out. And that's all I had for today, John, is just in case you guys are asked things about things that are going on or current facilities, you would have the latest information for y'all to be able to answer questions. So I can entertain any other questions, but that's all I have for an update.
Thank you. Questions?
Did the money, is the money in the budget? I read, just reading the minutes about the 796, about we was going to do an engineering study or something. Did that get in?
That got in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything
Anything
else?
else on Christmas stick in the budget?
It is too late.
Gotta put something in it. All right. Christie. Next thing on the agenda then is public comments. Do you have any comments from the public today? No? Okay, thank you. And there being none, the next item on the agenda is to adjourn. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Motion made to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No, no,